What's up, everybody? This is the last week that I will be talking about fertility and basically taking natural birth control. This was, as I've stated before, this was through my school. I had to do some research on something that I felt was relevant to my world right now. And the reason that I feel this is relevant is because I feel that there's just not enough information out there about what a woman goes through every month. And so, even if you're not trying to get pregnant, which a majority of us are not, it's important to understand what your body's going through and why it's going through it because it's how you give yourself grace. Maybe you're having a day where you just like feel really heavy, or you're like, I'm so hungry, but I keep eating and I don't understand why I'm so hungry and I'm not pregnant. So, what's happening? Right? These are the tools that will help you unlock an understanding of why those things happen, why you have a really sudden craving for something, or why your weight fluctuates throughout the month, you know? So, this is like just a beautiful tool for what these things are, or what your body is, and why it's there. Anyways, this week I want to talk about what a woman is worth. And the first two things I want to point out is that to God, we are priceless. We are worth so much to Him because we're His creation. But we're also the most important creation He ever made because we were created in His image. Yeah. And so for us, we have unique purposes as women because we are human. We're not a dog. We're not a horse, a whale. We're not even a man. We have unique purposes that God gave us because we're His women and we were created in His image. The first thing I want to share with you is that we are considered a helper. If you have read Genesis before, you will know that God says that He wants to make a helper for Adam. Well, that would be us, right? And I want to point out what that is because the word from the Hebrew, the Jewish vocabulary is actually called ezer, and it helps us to describe helper, someone who supports, and someone who is of aid. However, what's interesting about this is that God actually is described as this way many times in the Old Testament, which means that we share God's ability to be a helper. We share that part of Him. And it's actually, here's an example from Isaiah 63, verse 13. As one whom his mother comforts, so I will comfort you. You shall be comforted in Jerusalem. This means that our desire to nurture, comfort, to raise up and guide, to teach, to multiply, all of these things come from the part of God's image that we are made in. It also means that we have value because God gave us that part of His image. Yeah. So our skill set, our tools, our desire to do these things has value. It has purpose. And it's a part of our purpose on this earth as women. Now, what does that have to do with fertility? I'm so glad you asked. It actually helps us to understand that our bodies are a gift, and that we're not an accident. And with this understanding, we can see the purpose in our fertility. We can see the purpose in the fluctuations of our hormones, the purpose in having a menstrual cycle. We can see His design throughout all of it, and it's actually pretty cool, even though it's not always ideal, not my favorite. But it's also a way that we partner with God, and it's a way that we can find comfort in Him and see Him in new ways because of how we take care of the people around us. I don't know about you, but I'm constantly comforting and nurturing my husband, and I love to do it, but it just reminds me that God is also that for me. And while I'm on my journey of understanding my body more and more, I'm able to give myself grace and recognize that these skills and tools were created because of our next purpose, which is created to be creative. This is actually one of the things that created to be a creator, I should say, not creative. But this is something that's completely unique to women because men cannot they can't house a baby, right? And what it means is we basically, as women, are able to give life. Do you know who else is able to give life? God, right? So this is another way that we share God's image. And but also it's really cool because it's a way that we partner with man and God, because we take what man has given us and we multiply it into a little baby. So this is a great way to recognize that we have purpose in two ways, right? And these are just specific to women. Obviously, you have a unique purpose that God has laid on your heart that isn't the same as mine. And so, but these are ways that we all can gather around and recognize that we have purpose, right? That God created us in his image. Yeah. So, how does this have to do with natural birth control, and why am I telling you about it as your value? Well, this is a beautiful way that we can partner with God. It's a beautiful way that we can showcase our miraculous ability to create something. But it's also a way that we nurture the earth. Yeah? By doing what God asked us to do, which is multiply and cover the earth, we are fulfilling our purpose. Men have a different purpose to play. Yeah? And so this has to do with natural birth control because understanding what your body can do and why it does it changes what you believe about it, right? If we know that God is a life giver and God has given that part of him, which is a good part of him, to us, wouldn't we see that as a gift too, right? And wouldn't we steward that gift well by taking care of our bodies and having grace for our bodies? I think I would. And obviously stewarding it well looks different for everyone, so don't come at me. But just recognize that this is actually truly a gift, and it's a part of your purpose. And it's a way that we can connect and be closer to God and gain new understanding about what he goes through and the love that he gives us and the true perfect ability to forgive us that he gives us. We're not God, but we can glean understanding from the gifts and the purpose that he gave us, especially if we're partnering with him daily. So yeah, that is what basically two of your purposes are as a woman. And even if you are not able to have children or choose not to have children, whatever it is, it doesn't negate your value, but it is something cool to recognize that God gave you the ability to create life and to steward your life well. And he gave you the gift of being a helper to help others, but also to steward it the way that he wants you to. So it may look different than the way I help other people. But just remember that these are two ways that God has given us purpose, but we are still unique and we are still each a gift in our own way. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. I certainly enjoyed learning about it, and I will see you next week.